Hey, everybody, welcome to The Blacklist, the show where we interview the elite. On my right, we have Brendan Boyd. We're going to talk about his story. We're going to talk about a lot of the things that he does. But for people that don't know you, right, this is their first time listening in, first time ever seeing your face. Who is Brendan and what is it that he does?
Man, that's a great question, man. So I'm a digital media entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So essentially, what I do is I help podcasters monetize with our brand deal sponsorships, so having large audiences. Then I help like amazing entrepreneurs like yourself, right, get in front of their audio clients using podcasts to grow their audience.
Yeah. And I've noticed like over the past, I'd say like 5 years, because there was a point in time where podcasting wasn't really like, famous. But then all of a sudden it's like everybody now has a podcast,
Yeah.
right? When did you start noticing that transition?
That's another really good question. I think probably pandemic. So probably like 3 years. I think 3 years was like an influx of
Yeah.
like everybody like, okay, I'm gonna just start at the house.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go in the closet. I'm gonna do it in the car.
Yeah.
Everybody had something that they wanted to share, and I actually encouraged people to share.
Yeah.
But I think because everyone was home, anyone that had an idea about potentially wanting to start a podcast, they was like, okay, now's the time to do it.
Do you think it's because they were bored, or because they couldn't do anything else, or like they couldn't go to, they couldn't really go like to masterminds or things like that, or why do you think it happened?
I think it was a combination of both. I think if you had things that you wanted to do, but you just didn't have time for it because of work or because you were so busy,
Yeah.
pandemic gave you opportunity. So it's
Yeah.
now it's time for you to like, okay, I'm finally going to do this thing that I've been putting off. And then also like Clubhouse was exploding.
That's
So
true.
I think that gave people another opportunity to be like, you know what? I could do my thing. I'm going crazy inside of the Clubhouse. I
Yeah.
think when this is done, I want to speak on credit, or I want to speak on, being a stay-at-home dad. Or I want to speak on, starting a business. And I
Yeah.
think, that kind of brought in that resurgence.
And for people that hop on other people's shows, like, are you noticing, because obviously you do it as a business, like, are you
Yeah.
noticing that they get a lot of eyeballs, they get a lot more deals? Like, what ends up happening when people start, doing like podcast hopping and
Yeah.
start getting on other shows?
Ulysses, man, you know this, because you got influencer press, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So, I mean, you create a platform to allow people to get their stories out, their brands out, so more people can know them. And I think right now, podcasting is literally the only platform, right, that strangers will give you 20 to 40 minutes of their time,
right,
right?
right.
And they don't care about the host. They don't really care about the guest per se. They want the information. So if your title is good or if your information is good, they're going to give you the time.
Yeah,
Now on social media, you're not getting that, right? TikTok is microwavable. Instagram, you're gonna get a little bit more, but it's like with the shorts, it's like so fast. Like we just get information so fast. But people are already programmed to just give you 20 minutes minimum on a podcast because they know, okay, they're gonna get into it. It's longer form. And I think video podcast is a great platform that's starting to get more traction. Even YouTube went crazy, investing a lot,
Yeah.
building out podcasts on YouTube, and then Spotify by Anchor. So
yeah.
what's going on with that?
And I've noticed, I agree with you, because I've noticed like with like publications, people don't really read articles anymore. Like they'll
Nah.
just read the title,
Mhm.
they'll skim through it. They won't give it a minute, they won't
Yeah.
even give it like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
You're right. Like podcasting is probably the only form where they'll give a lot more time
Yeah.
than they would any other medium. Any other medium, you really have to like capture them immediately for you to actually get their attention, or for you to kind of get them to move somewhere.
And the thing about podcasting is evergreen, man. So like I can get on the show. I mean, I'm on your platform right now. People can discover me in the next 6 months for the first time.
Yeah.
Right. In between now and 6 months, that episode is getting views. People can catch this episode 3 years into the future, and people can still discover it. Now, where articles, it's a little bit different, right? The shelf life is a little bit less, right? I'm not going to go back and listen to an article read an article from 6 years ago, unless someone gives it to me and they're like, yo, you got to check this out.
Right,
But I'm
right.
not sifting through it, right?
Yeah.
Literally, we go on YouTube. I can type in, Blacklist. It's going to pull up all the guests you had since episode 1. I might discover them for the first time. Then I might start binging. Oh, I like this guy. What else he got? Then I'm going to go
Yeah.
look at some other, interviews that he's been on. So it's literally a cheat code, man. It's a cheat code for you to get in front of more people. It's a cheat code for people to discover you. And if you're trying to, increase your digital footprint, your brand awareness, your searchability, this is where you need to be at.
Yeah. How long have you been doing that?
Podcasting?
Yeah.
4 years.
4 years now?
Yeah.
And same thing with the agency?
No, the agency is new, man. So how the agency came out was, I had a personal problem in my business, right? And a personal problem in my business was like leads. I feel like everyone has a leads problem, right? So my thing was, okay, Facebook as a side, YouTube as a side, email marketing, text marketing side. Like, what can I do that's going to allow me to get in front of more people consistently, but then allow people to discover me like into the future. Like, how
Yeah.
can I create evergreen content, right? And then how can we take me being on these platforms, right, and then disseminate it into smaller forms of content that I can redistribute.
Yeah.
So as I'm doing a podcast, it just kind of dawned on me, right? Because I'm paying attention to other people. Okay, he's on a couple different platforms, and I'm like, man, like this is the way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this is the way. So at the end of last year, what I did was, I put an offer together. I had a couple of people that I was working with before I launched the offer. We got them on some big platforms.
Yeah.
They went crazy. I mean, crazy leads, crazy reach. Those episodes got a lot of views, a lot of downloads. And I'm like, okay, cool. I want to put this together and offer it for people.
Yeah.
People that have like it only really works if you, well, I only want to work with people that have a product and a service and they just need the audience.
Yeah.
Right. So if you have to figure a thing out, or if you're still trying to put your thing together, it's not going to be for you because you still got some work to do. But
Yeah.
if you literally just know, you know what, I have this solution, it can help people. I just need more people to know about it. Then it's perfect for you.
No, I can attest to that because, I know of a guy. He's a mentor of mine. His name's Austin, or Austin Netzley, and he went on like 4 podcasts. And because he has the right systems in place, he has the right things for when he does get the audience. Like, dude, those 4 podcasts gave him like $150,000 in new revenue. You know, and people like I think don't know how to utilize it correctly. Like they'll just hop on shows and then like that's it. You know, but they might not know how to work the ins and outs to actually use it more. Is there anything that you find that your clients should be doing when they're on shows?
Hey, are you an entrepreneur or business owner and you feel like you had a ceiling in your business? Well, it's not because there's anything wrong with your products or services. It's simply because you need more exposure. More people need to know who you are and what you do. My name is Brendan Boyd, and I want to help you get on more podcasts, more YouTube shows, and other opportunities to get in front of more people. All you need to do is click that link below and book a call with me or someone from my team, and we're gonna find out if we're a good fit to help you get in front of more people.
Yeah, can I give you a play real quick?
For sure.
All right, cool. So listen, what you want to do is you want to make sure you have your offer dialed in, right? Your systems, your backend dialed in, right? Now you want to go on podcasts that are relevant to your category, right? So what do you do? So maybe you are someone that does fitness, right? You want to go on some fitness podcasts, business, entrepreneurship, weight loss, whatever it may be. Get on those platforms, have your story, have the way that you help people, share a little bit about, how you can actually give people real results. Then what you want to do is give them a way that they can tap into after. Hey, listen, Ulyses, man, I had an amazing time here. What I want to do is I want to give your audience another opportunity to, take advantage of my blueprint.
Yeah.
This is going to give them an instant result. Then what's going to happen is once you give that call to action, now you're going to start turning the audience into leads.
Yep.
Right. And now if you have a system on the back end, let's say it's a text system, I'm going to text, blueprint to 55555 or whatever the case may be. Now you're going to capture their data, name, number, email. On the back end, we have a capture funnel in place.
Yeah.
And depending on where you want to send that audience, now we're going to start sending them to where you want them to go.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a masterclass, webinar, VSL, book a call, community, where you want your people to go. And then, you can either take it a step further because now you can take the content, you can chop it all up, redistribute it, send them back there. So there's a lot of different ways, but that's what you want to do. You want to make sure that you turn the audience into leads every single time. Yeah.
No, that's smart. And I think a lot of people right now are just doing podcasts just for the sake of going on other people's podcasts.
Yeah.
And they're not doing the other thing, And it's cool. That's great. Like you get a lot of brand recognition there. But what you're talking about is like you can get brand recognition and more. You can get that's good. And so like when people work with you, then they really only need the fulfillment stuff down, the systems down, because you'll help them kind of capture the leads and turn it into like calls or something else. Like, is that what you do?
Yeah. So essentially, what we'll do is if they don't have a capture funnel in place, or if they don't have a way to then like bring the leads into, we'll give them a funnel.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? We'll make sure that it's optimized, it can receive the leads, and then we just kind of attach, where they want them to go on the back end of that.
Yeah.
Just a quick note. One of the things I say is you want to make sure your call to action is more general because the podcast is going to live on, right? So if it's more general and less specific, if someone's listening to that episode a year from now, they could still text in. So you can get leads forever.
Yeah.
If you set it up the right way.
What does that mean? So what does that mean more general versus like specific? Like, yeah, go ahead.
So let's say you got a challenge going on or like a free workshop or something, right? So instead of saying, hey, listen, text this number to jump into our free workshop, Memorial Day. or June 2nd to the 5th. I would say something like, hey, listen, make sure you guys tap into my free workshop. Text this number, and then also we always give some bonuses. So listen, even if you're watching this podcast 6 months from now, we still have something for you.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm not viewer or listener, I'm like, okay, I didn't miss out.
Right.
And that's what you want to make people feel like, oh, I missed out when it was live and when it was relevant. Oh, but there's still something for me.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what the business owner can do, right? They can interchange what that giveaway is going to be. Maybe that giveaway is going to be, maybe it's going to be a VSL. Maybe it's going to be, a ebook. Maybe it's going to be a mini course. Maybe it's going to be like behind the scenes of me and Ulyses having a mastermind conversation. You could switch it out. You can make it relevant to whatever's going on in your business. That's why you want to keep it a little bit more general and less specific.
Now that makes a lot of sense, dude. Especially the fact that you're keeping it very general for even people like a year, 2 years down the line. Because if I would have saw, like for example, for me, if I would have seen a podcast and I'm like, oh fuck, they only did it that year up. You missed out on so many people that thought the exact same thing. Like that are like, oh, I missed it. But now you're just constantly, and that's just from one podcast. Like it compounds.
That's when, you listen, man, you caught it. It compounds, and the thing about it is like, okay, so one of my favorite, I would say like my digital mentor, because I haven't met him yet. So hopefully this podcast puts him in a position to meet him. Yeah. Sam Ovens, right? So Sam Ovens, mastermind. So he put together, basically it was this Excel spreadsheet, but it was designed to show you where your time is going. Yeah. So you spend more time on things that are like $1,000, $10,000, $100,000 ideas, and you spend less time on things that are like $100, $10 negative $100 ideas, right? Right. And he was like, okay, cool. I went through the whole thing. I'm gonna give it to you guys for free. Just download it in the show notes. So I rushed to download. I'm like, yo, this dude's going crazy. I need this, right? Broken link. 4-year-old video. I'm like, damn, man, this is so valuable. Yeah. So what I did was I just hired a VA to recreate it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then I made my version of the same video. And it's on YouTube. But it's like, damn, I was so like disappointed that I couldn't get it in that moment. Yeah. But I wanted it. So I was like, okay, let me try to recreate it in my way. And I was able to do it. But that's what people would miss out on. So imagine if you had a system in place that you went on podcasts intentionally. You had your product and your service, the way that you can help people, right? You started compounding the podcast, and you kept your call to action on. You will get leads until infinity. Yeah. Especially if you're giving real game. You know what I'm saying? If you're really giving real game, giving some valuable, and whatever you're going to give away is something that they can take advantage of, then 100%.
Have you heard of I'm pretty sure you have, like podcast swaps? Yeah. Or basically, yeah. So do you think that's a pretty hot topic right now? Like, do you think people are doing it correctly? And I mean, is it something that you're doing?
You mean, so for instance, I'm on this podcast and then I'm gonna have you on my podcast?
Yeah, like that basically.
100%, man, because what it does is it the perception of the relationship to the audience is like, oh yeah, they rock. Because Brendan was on Ulyses and Ulyses was on Brendan. But it's also a really good leverage play, because you can leverage your podcast, build a relationship, and maybe the person that you want to do a swap with has a bigger platform. But what happens is you build that relationship. Now y'all cool because you done spent 30, 60 minutes together. Yeah. So it's like an easier ask, or that person might just bring it up. Like literally one of my clients, he just did this the other day. So basically this podcast in Dallas charges around like $7,000. Yeah. That's the regular price. So we negotiated it down to $5,000. So we saved him some money there, and that's something that we do. So we saved him some money there. And, the client was a little hesitant because this is the first time they actually spent on, like, I call them premium podcasts that have a ticket. Yeah. He spent the money. What happened was the podcast was supposed to be 30 minutes. Yeah, yeah. They went over an hour. Oh, right? Damn, yeah. And then the host has such a great time, right? And the guest has such a great time. They was like, yo, let's do it again. Yeah. So then he gave them a free episode. Yep. Right? And then he came back and did it again, the free episode. And now what happened was the host is now coming on his platform. Yeah. And now they're doing a virtual event. Yeah. And that all came from the swap, but it also came from an investment. Yeah. And I think that's something that people kind of miss out on, that investment piece, right? Because it's not an expense, it's an investment, right? So if I invest to get, let's say on a podcast, if I have a legit way to help people, and I might have a price associated with that, you're gonna generate that revenue back. Yeah. So you're investing in yourself. You're investing in getting in front of more people. And you're investing in more platforms. Kind
of like masterminds. Like people invest into these masterminds to get around like high level people. So that way, whatever. It's like a business deal happens there, yeah. So like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I don't think people see it like that,
Yeah.
I think people are like, I mean, there's some people you've probably maybe had this where it's like, I'm too big to be, to be doing that type of stuff. Have you had that before where it's like a client of yours?
Well, you know what? I have a lot of resistance from clients when it come around like paying, man, because
Yeah.
again, they're looking at it the wrong way. But think about this. If you have to convince clients, well, prospects, let's call them,
Yeah.
to buy your thing, and let's say you're not the coldest salesperson, so you really feel like you're spending a lot of time, you're convincing these people, when you know you can help them.
Yep.
But if you just get into a different room of people that have money, that people that think like you, and you can help them too, they're literally just gonna say yes.
Yeah.
They're not gonna
It's
be
just a
like,
different, yeah.
they're not gonna be like, oh, how does it work? And can you do this? And you sure it's gonna work for me? Nah, man. If I'm in a room of 10K, 20K, 50K, 100K people, and they literally have, let's say, the same issue as someone that may not be in that room, they're just gonna give me the money. They're gonna wire it. They're gonna be like, send a link. Let me, it's gonna get done.
Yeah.
So when you rather invest in yourself, being around more people that are just gonna move faster, spend money, not be afraid to invest, it's gonna help you change your mindset, and then it's gonna increase your pocketbook,
Yeah.
right? Or you can not do that and just keep doing what you're doing because you're afraid to move forward, which is fine, but it's just gonna take you longer.
You know what I've noticed? So there's this. I like that, by the way. Like another thing that I think is some pretty good game is like this guy that I know is named Chandler Bolt. He'll have podcasts like this, like for himself, and then what he'll do, because he makes a lot of money doing webinars,
Yeah,
is
that's a play.
he'll find partners. So like people that he has on his show. As soon as he's done doing his show, he'll have like 5 to 10 minutes right after, and he'll speak to them and be like, hey, I loved it. Yada, yada. What do you think about if I did something for your audience or whatever?
You know what that's called, bro?
What?
Not a lot of people know about that. That's a cheat code, right?
Yeah, I know. It's
That's
fucking
called a
fat
pod.
cheat
That's
code,
called
dude.
a pod close, bro. So what happens is, what you do is, and we got a
And
whole.
Brad Lee does this too,
Yeah.
actually.
Oh,
like,
with Lightspeed.
yeah.
Yeah.
As soon as you're done doing his show, dude, or even beforehand, like
Yeah.
he tries to sell you Lightspeed
You
while you're
should,
there.
yeah. It's called a pod close.
Yeah.
So I mean, so what you want to do is you want to create an environment where you have your ideal client that's going to be a guest on the show,
Yeah.
right? You want to float them value, float them power, edify the hell out of them. You know what I'm saying? Make them feel good. It's a fire experience, high level premium experience, right? You built the relationship up. When the podcast is over, you done gave them so much value. You just transition the conversation. Hey, look, Ulyses, man. I just want to let you know, man. I had such an amazing time today. I mean, I am having an amazing time, but I had such an amazing time. Listen, I got an opportunity to help you get on more audiences. I mean, did you have a good time here today? Yeah, man. This was great. Like, yeah, I can see myself doing this more often, right?
Yeah.
So cool. That's what we do. We can help you get on more opportunities like this and get in front of more of your audience. Would you like to talk about how we can make that happen for you? Like we can get on, get you on 10, 20, 40 podcasts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love that. And then you just transition to, a value call, or you can close the deal. And that's literally how my agency started, man. I was doing that and didn't know what I was doing, but I was doing it consistently. And then I was like, wait, what just happened? Like it happened the fourth time. Just organically, I was like, yo, what just happened? I just made like, 8K like 4 times.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is
It's because it imitates also like when people speak on stage, and they
Yeah.
speak for like 30 minutes to an hour, and
Yeah.
like they pour out their story, yada yada. People feel like they know them, they like them, trust them, things like that. You do something very similar, right?
Yeah,
like
same thing.
right now, like I'm listening to you, yada yada. Like you do something you're selling me on the fact that I should be on more shows,
Yeah.
like
Yo, we can make that happen for you, bro.
right. So
I got you.
yeah, so like it's a very good, but you got to know how to do it. I know too many people that just hop on podcasts and that's it.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I would say is when you have an opportunity to get in front of people, when you have an opportunity to give your value, you definitely want to make sure you have some sort of call to action. Now, you don't need to sell on every call to action. It could be,
Right.
They can just join the community, or they could, jump on an email list, text message list or something, but you want to have some intention. I mean, when you make content, it's kind of like the same thing. Some people just make mindless content, but you definitely want to make sure you kind of steer people in a direction or give them the opportunity to tap in with you further. And I feel like that's a lost opportunity when podcasters or guests don't do that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I can continue to listen to this. I continue to watch this. I was literally in the space with the person, and I didn't give them another way to further the conversation.
Yeah. Damn, dude, that's powerful.
Yeah.
So, do you have another like cheat code or like something that's free game for people that are listening?
Man, I got a lot of free game, man. Like, so it kind of depends, right? So I want to simplify this. If you got a product or a service, right, and you're not really sure how to break from, your threshold. Maybe you make 5K a month, 10K a month, 20K a month. I want to just simplify it, right? If you're in a major city and you're at a stoplight and there might be a homeless person there, right? The homeless person may have a sign, right? On the sign is a clear message, right? The homeless person may have a way for them to get paid. It might be a cup, right? And the homeless person is literally at that light and they're walking through traffic. So if you're confused, you just got to simplify it. What do they have that you don't have? They don't got the systems. They don't got back end. There's no automation, right? They don't got a high ticket. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes we just confuse the whole thing, but if we simplify it, what is he doing? At that light, he probably timed it, but after that light, the light probably changes every, let's say 2 minutes.
Yeah.
There's another 50 cars. Traffic.
Yeah.
I got my messages clear. It might be a joke. It might be something straightforward. I got to wait for them to pay.
Yeah.
So all I need to do is consistently get in front of more people with a clear message. It doesn't even matter if you don't have a back end, but if you have an offer, the more times you do that, you're going to do more sales.
Yeah.
So people need to stop thinking about how much money they want to make and think about how many opportunities can I create or how many opportunities can I get in front of. And I think that will help you go to that next level. You know what I mean? Like change the metric. The metric should not be on the sales. The metric should be on the opportunities.
Yeah.
I mean, Kobe said it, man. He was like, listen, if I wake up at 2, practice, back at it again at like 7, back at it again at like 2, back at it again at like 6, and I do this for 4 or 5 years, there's no way that any other NBA player can catch me because I'm so far ahead of them because of all that compound interest, because of all those opportunities, because of all those reps.
Yeah.
So if you're stuck at a certain, dollar amount a month, it's because you haven't created enough opportunities, or you haven't got with us and allowed us to put you on more, get you in front of more audience.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's the future look like for you and your podcasting agency?
I mean, that's a really good question. What I really want to do is I want to help amazing entrepreneurs like yourself. I want to have amazing conversations. I want to build it out where I can give, people jobs and opportunities, and then it's running without me having to really touch a lot of, the deliverables.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that my clients have a very premium, high-level experience, and we continue to build out really fire relationships for them to get on, right? Because it's not just podcasting. I got fire YouTube interview relationships. We got fire influencer relationships. I got some international relationships in Canada.
Yeah.
So I want to continue to build those relationships even, overseas. So it's like, yo, man, I'm going to Ghana. Word, we got a relationship out there. Go do this radio show, or go do this, podcast, or get on this guy's YouTube channel. You know what I mean? Because you might be focused, not you specifically, but that person might be focused on regional.
Right.
But the regional may look huge to you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But you only been doing podcasts, let's say, on the East Coast. You're not even thinking about the West Coast. You're not thinking about the crossover audience. So that's really what I want to do. Create fire relationships that are like, more global, travel, create amazing content, sit with amazing people like yourself, and then just really grow that business. Show people that they can do it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, dude, I appreciate you being on the show. If people are listening and they want to be on more audiences and they want to be on more podcasts and they want to do it the right way, where can people find you?
100%, man. So at It's Brendan Boyd on all platforms, right? All platforms. So YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all platforms. And if they tap into, if they text Blacklist, have them text Blacklist, right? To 213-410-4920. I'll get them on a free podcast. So
Perfect.
if you tap in, I'll get you, and not no low level, weak podcast. It'll be something fire. So if you're listening to this and you like, you know what, I need to get in front of more audiences. I feel like, what Brendan's talking about could really help my business. Just text Blacklist to 213-410-4920. We'll get you in front of some amazing people, give you a free show, and we'll go from there, man. But I had an amazing time, man.
Me too, dude. I
This
appreciate
this whole setup is fire, bro.
right.
You really set the stage.
Thank you, dude. Well, I appreciate you being on the show.
All right, man. I'll see you guys. When you gonna have me back? I'm gonna hold you to that. When am I coming back?
Tomorrow.
All right, cool.